Imagine a backyard barbecue. Your neighbor just announced he's made his final mortgage payment, and everyone raises a glass to his financial freedom. But the wealthiest couple at the party just smiles politely. They know a secret about debt, wealth, and opportunity that the rest of us were never taught. A secret that could be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars. What if I told you that rushing to pay off your mortgage, especially after 50, is one of the biggest financial traps of your life? The wealthy have used low-interest debt to build fortunes for generations. Today, you're going to learn exactly how they do it, and why your paid-off house might be the laziest, most underperforming asset you own. Picture this. You're at a weekend barbecue. Someone is practically glowing with pride as they announce, "We just made our final mortgage payment." Instantly, everyone's congratulating them, raising their beers, and talking about how responsible and smart they are. But across the patio, the wealthiest couple in attendance stays quiet. They smile politely, but they don't celebrate. It's not because they're jealous. It's not because they can't afford to pay off their own beautiful home. It's because they know something the others don't, something that would shock most Americans over 50. Wealth Topmax warmly welcomes you. This channel is dedicated to sharing wealth-building mindsets for those seeking financial and time freedom. If you don't want to miss out on future valuable insights, consider subscribing for free and turning on the notification bell. Here's a concept that is going to flip everything you believe about money. Rich people almost never pay off their mortgage early, especially after 50. And if you're rushing to be mortgage-free, you might be walking directly into the biggest financial trap of your life. I'm going to show you exactly why the wealthy think differently about debt, why your paid-off house might actually be costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars in lost opportunity, and what you should be doing instead. This is in theory. This is how real wealth gets built and protected after 50. First, let's tackle the critical insight, the lie your parents taught you. For decades, we've all been sold one simple story, a cornerstone of the American dream. Pay off your mortgage, own your home free and clear, and sleep peacefully at night. Maybe your parents had one of those ceremonial mortgage-burning parties back in the 80s. Maybe you've dreamed of the day that massive monthly payment disappears from your budget forever. It feels like the ultimate symbol of security. But here's what nobody tells you. That dream was built for a completely different economic world. Back in the 70s and 80s, when our parents were forming their financial habits, mortgage rates hit an astronomical 12%, 15%, even 18%. At the same time, a simple savings account could actually pay you $5 to $10 interest. In that environment, your house wasn't just where you lived. It was legitimately your biggest and best performing investment. Paying off a high-interest mortgage back then made total and complete financial sense. But now you're playing by your grandfather's rules in your grandson's economy. Today, many people are locked into historically low, sub-4% mortgage rates. Investment opportunities are everywhere, accessible from your phone. The game has fundamentally changed, but the advice hasn't. A financial advisor in Denver told me something last year that has stuck with me ever since. He said, "The biggest mistake I see with clients over 50 isn't that they don't save enough money. It's that they make emotional decisions with their money instead of strategic ones. And the most emotional decision of all? Rushing to pay off a low-interest mortgage that is actually working in their favor." This leads us to the second wealth destroyer, the silent thief living in your home. When you aggressively pay off your mortgage, you're not actually eliminating a cost. You are creating a new, invisible one. This is the silent thief of wealth known as opportunity cost. Every single extra dollar you sink into paying down your home is a dollar that is not earning anything, not growing, and not compounding for your future. It just sits there, trapped in the equity of your house, like money stuffed in a mattress. You wouldn't accept that from an employee, right? Imagine hiring someone who shows up every day but does nothing. You'd fire them immediately. That's exactly what most home equity is: unemployed money. Let's look at a real example. Say you've got an extra $300,000 in equity just sitting in your house. If that money were invested and earned just a conservative 6% annually, that's $18,000 you're missing out on every single year. That's $1,500 every single month that could be flowing directly into your pocket, but doesn't. And that's not just this year, it's every year for the rest of your life. The wealthy figured this out decades ago. They don't see a paid-off house as the ultimate security. They see it as a pile of lazy dollars doing absolutely nothing productive. Paul from Michigan called into a radio show I was listening to last month. He was 62, had just proudly paid off his $400,000 house, and was feeling great about being debt-free. But when the host walked him through the numbers, Paul had a shocking realization. He was giving up about $24,000 per year in potential investment returns. That's $2,000 every single month he could have been earning. Sound familiar? Have you ever actually calculated what your idle home equity is costing you in missed opportunities? Now you're starting to see why wealthy people think so differently about this. Next, we have the third financial trap: the liquidity crisis nobody warns you about. Here's where this conversation gets truly serious, especially for anyone over 50. The biggest threat to your financial security isn't having a mortgage. It's the dangerous illusion of security that comes from locking all of your wealth inside the four walls of your house. Think about this. You can't sell a bathroom to pay for a surgery. You can't slice off a piece of your roof to fund long-term care. You can't write a check using your granite countertops when your kids are in trouble and need help. You can be sitting on $500,000 in home equity and still have zero cash when life inevitably hits you with an emergency. I've watched this tragedy play out time and time again. A couple retires at 62. Their house is paid off. They feel secure, responsible, like they did everything right. Then comes the unexpected health crisis, the urgent need for a new roof when the market is down, or the call from a struggling family member. Suddenly, they are completely cash poor. They often can't qualify for new loans because their retirement income is too low. They don't want to sell their beloved home under pressure. They become prisoners in their own paid-off mansion. The wealthy understand something crucial that the rest of us often learn the hard way. Liquidity is oxygen for your financial life. After 50, when your income becomes less predictable and your expenses become more surprising, having access to cash isn't just nice to have. It is absolutely critical for your financial survival. That's precisely why they keep their mortgages. It's not because they can't afford to pay them off, but because they understand this fundamental truth about money. Control beats ownership every single time. Real security after 50 isn't about eliminating all of your debt. It's about maintaining maximum flexibility so you can handle whatever life throws at you. Now for the fourth secret strategy, the tax advantage hidden in plain sight. Let's talk about one of the biggest advantages wealthy people use that most everyday homeowners completely overlook. Your mortgage isn't just a financial tool, it's actually a tax shelter hiding in plain sight. When you pay off your mortgage, you are voluntarily eliminating one of the last major tax-deductible forms of interest available to regular Americans. If you're still itemizing your deductions, especially in high-cost states, that mortgage interest can significantly lower your taxable income year after year. But here's the more important piece that most people miss entirely. When wealthy people need a large sum of money, they don't rush to sell stocks or tap their retirement accounts, because doing so creates an immediate and often significant taxable event. Instead, they use their home equity through a low-interest mortgage or a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, to borrow what they need. And here's the beautiful part. Borrowed money isn't taxed. There are no capital gains taxes. There are no early withdrawal penalties. You're not pushing yourself into higher income tax brackets. A financial planner in Arizona told me about a client who needed $50,000 for his daughter's wedding. Instead of selling his investments and paying nearly 20% in capital gains taxes, he simply took out a home equity line at a 3.5% interest rate. He got to use all $50,000 instead of giving $10,000 to the government, and his investments were able to keep growing, completely untouched. This is why wealthy families often keep their mortgages indefinitely. It gives them constant access to a pool of tax-free liquidity whenever they need it, without creating a tax nightmare. It's not about the debt. It's about having access to your own money without the government taking their cut every single time you need it. Fifth, let's discuss an invisible advantage: the inflation gift most people refuse. Here's the part that almost nobody talks about, but once you understand it, you'll never look at your mortgage the same way again. Your fixed-rate mortgage is literally the only debt you have that gets cheaper every single year you keep it. Let me paint you a picture. Say you've got a $2,000 mortgage payment today. With inflation averaging just 3% annually, in 10 years, that exact same $2,000 payment will feel like it only cost you $1,500 in today's purchasing power. In 20 years, that $2,000 payment will feel like you're only paying about $1,100 in today's money. You are literally paying the bank back with weaker and weaker dollars every single year that passes. It's like having a silent partner, inflation, who gradually takes over more and more of your payment without you having to do anything. This isn't some complicated financial trick. It's basic economics that the wealthy understand and embrace, while everyone else fights against it by trying to pay off their cheap debt as quickly as possible. If you have a mortgage with an interest rate under 4% and inflation is running at 3% annually, your real interest rate is barely 1%. You are essentially borrowing money almost for free when you factor in the decreasing value of each payment over time. That's not a burden, that's a gift. It's a gift that keeps on giving, year after year, and the wealthy accept that gift with open arms while everyone else throws it away by rushing to pay off cheap debt with their expensive, hard-earned money. Finally, let's put it all together with a powerful framework: the strategic mortgage method. So, what do wealthy people actually do instead of paying off their homes? Let me give you the exact 4-step framework they follow, especially if you're over 50. Step 1. Keep low-interest mortgages forever. If your rate is under 4% and it's fixed, you are sitting on what might be the best borrowing terms you will ever see again in your lifetime. Do not kill that advantage. Keep it, protect it, and use it strategically. Step 2. Invest the difference religiously. Don't just avoid paying extra on the mortgage. You must put that extra money to work immediately. Invest it in diversified portfolios, dividend-paying stocks, or other income-producing assets. Even a conservative 6 to 7% return will absolutely crush your low mortgage interest rate over time. Step 3. Maintain at least 1 year of mortgage payments in liquid savings. This is your sleep-at-night money. It gives you the confidence to invest for the long term and completely eliminates the fear factor. It means that if anything unexpected happens, a job loss, a market downturn, your house isn't at risk, and neither is your peace of mind. You can be strategic without being reckless. Step 4. Review and adjust annually. Markets change, interest rates change, and your personal situation changes. Once a year, sit down and honestly ask yourself, is my investment strategy still comfortably outperforming my mortgage rate? If not, you can adjust your course. But you'll be making decisions based on current reality, not on outdated emotions or old advice from a bygone era. Conclusion, so let's bring this all home. The core lesson is this. The financial advice that worked for our parents' generation is not just outdated, it's dangerous in today's economic environment. The wealthy understand that a low-interest, fixed-rate mortgage isn't a burden to be eliminated, but a powerful tool to be harnessed. The key takeaways are, don't let your money sit idle and unemployed as home equity. Understand that true financial security comes from liquidity and flexibility, not from being debt-free. Use your mortgage as a tax shelter and a source of cheap, tax-free capital. And let the silent power of inflation work for you by paying back your loan with ever cheaper dollars. Real financial peace doesn't come from owning everything outright. It comes from knowing you have liquid cash available, passive income flowing in, and strategic investments growing for your future. That is genuine security. That is true freedom. And that is why wealthy people don't rush to kill their mortgages. Your financial future after 50 isn't about following the same old advice. It's about asking smarter questions. Not, can I pay off my mortgage? But, should I? That is the fundamental shift in thinking that separates people who just get by from people who build lasting wealth. Thank you for joining us here at Wealth Topmax. We hope this has given you a valuable new perspective on your biggest asset. Don't forget to subscribe for notifications, and we will see you in the next video.